Good evening, folks. Well, this is the second video that covers Brian's logic channel assertion that items that move away from you on a flat surface will eventually disappear bottom first. Now, he makes this assertion because he can't deny the fact that boats, for instance, going over the horizon will eventually go bottom first and then disappear slowly to the point where their mast will disappear and so on until the boat is gone altogether. Okay, so this Brian can't deny. In fact, no flat earther can actually deny the fact that this happens, that this is what they see. As you watch the ship go over the horizon, it will go bottom first and then it will keep going. You'll see less and less of it until you see none of it anymore. Okay, this is undeniable. Now, what Brian is asserting is that anything on a flat surface will do the same thing. So what he's asserting is that if you move something further away from you on a flat surface, it will get smaller and smaller. He acknowledges that angular size will change, but he's also asserting that it will disappear bottom first. So as it goes away from you, you will see less and less of the bottom until you see none of it at all. This is what he's claiming. In other words, you'll see less and less of the bottom, and then you'll see a bit more of the bottom gone, a bit more of it, until the top's gone, until it's gone altogether. So he's asserting that what you see out with the boats is precisely what happens on a flat surface. This is what Brian is claiming. Now, Brian has been doing a lot of this proselytizing on Ranty's show. Now, Ranty has accommodated him in his presentations, which for the most part are just gibberish. But however, this is one of the assertions that he makes. In recent time, he's brought he's done a series of tests with some objects on a flat surface and tried to demonstrate this this very thing that I'm talking about. For instance, telling us that as things move further away on a flat surface, the angular size will change, but then so will they disappear bottom first. Now, he has yet to show us something that even vaguely looks like that, although he has tried. Okay, so he gave us his objects, and they don't look any different from close up as they do all the way down the bottom of his flat surface, except for the fact that they're smaller, which is completely what you'd expect. Okay, so this is, I'll pan across here and I will show you what I mean, okay? Okay, so hopefully you have all of that board. You can see all of that. Now, as you can see, what I have is the boats. This is reality, okay? The boats, this particular boat, should I say, at this point over here, the boat is just before the horizon. That one over there is just over the horizon, and as the boat's as it's moving away, you can see that now the entire whole of the boat is below the horizon, and some of the sail, and then as you can see further along, the sail is pretty much all over the horizon, and then any further along and you wouldn't see the boat at all. This is consistent with reality. This is what's happening. This is what happens when you have a look at one of these boats going over the horizon. There is absolutely no doubt about it. Okay? Any flat earth assertion that this is not happened is just pure nonsense. Now, what would happen if the earth was actually flat? So again, what I've tried to do is depict what this might look like if the earth was actually flat. So again, here we have a boat in the foreground, and as that boat moves further and further away from you, the angular size changes, and the angular size of everything changes, not just the boat. So everything changes angular size, and until this boat becomes so small that you can't resolve what it is, that your eyesight cannot resolve it. And in fact, even with a lens, it still wouldn't be able to resolve it, because a lens just simply brings forward what you would normally see anyway with your eyesight. So it just magnifies it. So you would not be able to see the boat, to be able to resolve the boat that's much, much further away as it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But as you can see, it is not dipping below any horizon. Look at this one over here. The horizon is quite definite, quite an abrupt horizon in which things will go below it. Okay, you can't see the horizon beyond this. That is because you are looking at the curve of the Earth. That's curving over. This is the extent. So you're looking at, if you like, the tangent to it. Okay, you cannot see over that particular point. However, on a flat surface, you'll be able to see on and on and on to the point where you can't actually resolve what's in the distance. But that doesn't mean that it would just abruptly stop like this. That would not happen. Okay, so here we have reality. The boat's going over the horizon like this, and here we have what the flat Earth would look like if indeed it was flat. Indeed, looking over water, that is. So, the assertion that Brian is making, that things will move away from you, get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then as it does, the bottom will get, you'll see less and less of it. Bottom first is absolute, complete nonsense. Now, Ranty is quite happy to have this kind of stuff on his show. That's fine. Ranty gets fewer and fewer people complaining because, like he's done to me, he's blocked me, so I can't make any comments. I can't refute anything he says on his channel. So that doesn't mean I'm not going to refute what he says. I'm just going to simply do it over here. Okay, so what I'll do now is I will show you a demonstration with some jars that I did on a flat surface, and you'll be able to see for yourself that the jars that are in the distance are not losing any of their bottom. You can still see that the bottom of the jar is still clearly available. You can absolutely see all of it. The only difference is it's much smaller in angular size, which you'd expect. Okay, so I'll leave you here, and then I'll take you to that demonstration with the jars, and you can have a look for yourself, and then we'll finish up after that. Okay, folks, so what have we got here? As you can see, I've got 4 spice jars upside down, and alongside that I also have a pencil, and then a USB stick, and then another pencil. The first pencil is facing, the back of it's facing towards us, so that you can see the black end of it, and the other pencil is facing towards us, so the pointy end is facing towards us. The USB connector is facing towards us as well. Now, if you notice anything about those jars, they're all the same height. Their labels are all the same height, and also their lids are all the same size. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pan away from them. So this might look a little clumsy because this is an iPhone. So I'm going to pan away from them and come to the other end of the bench. So let's go do that slowly. So I'm going to come with about 1 meter away. Okay, so it's about a meter away. Now let's have a look. I've got a tape measure right over here, so I'll give that a go at measuring it. Actually, that doesn't really matter at this stage. I'll measure when I put the jars on individually. But that's a meter. You're looking at the 4 jars. That's now a meter away. So I'm going to go another meter, thereabouts. So we're about there. So we're now about 2 meters away from the jars. And by the time I come over here, it will be about 3 meters. Okay, so this is about 3 meters away from the jars. Okay, so let's have a look at, I keep getting messages get in my way. Let it go away. Good. Okay, so you can see clearly that all the items we were looking at are visible. So it's a flat surface, it's a stone bench, and you can see that clearly all the items are visible, exactly the way we saw them before, except of course they're much smaller because of angular resolution. So let's see if we can zoom this in and see what we can see. And I've just done that, and you can still see the pencil over there. You can see the pencils, you can see the USB, and you can see the 4 jars, and you can see they complete. And the reason I put the pencils there is because if by any chance we'd missed out on any of the bottoms of the jars, as Brian suggests we should, then we would not be able to see the pencil. And we wouldn't be able to see that the USB connector is facing us, nor we would be able to see that the pencil point is facing us. Clearly, nothing, no part of these jars or the other objects have gone below any, below the surface of this bench. They are sitting on top of the bench, as you'd expect, because this is a flat horizontal bench. That's the way I ordered it. Okay, now I'm going to order them, put the jars in a straight line so that we can have a look at them and see how Brian, again in his experiment, did pretty much the same thing. Okay, here we are back again. As you can see, I've staged the jars now, and those jars are equidistant apart. And in fact, I didn't even touch the one that's down the bottom, the first one. So as you can see, right next to it, I've put that pencil and the USB and the other pencil in exactly the same position, if you like. Well, you know, facing this way in the same way that they were before. And let's make some observations. You can see that because of angular resolution and perspective, the jars are getting smaller and smaller as they further and further away from us. This is perfectly expected. Okay, so let's you can see the one here in the foreground much larger than the others, and you can see that in fact the heights gets less and less. And the other thing you can notice is that the bench goes up. Now that's sort of a subjective thing. Obviously it does, because I can vary where that is, as you can see by moving this. But you can see that what happens is that the bench actually goes upwards, has that effect of going upwards, while the jar's heights go downwards. And you can picture that if this went on much further, we wouldn't be able to resolve the jars as both the bench and the tops of the jars come together, and that will be not because we've lost the bottom of the jar, but simply because the entire jar will get smaller and smaller as it gets further and further away from us. Okay, you can see that we have not lost the bottom of any of the jars, and certainly not the one that's down the bottom, the first one. So let me zoom in, and then we'll see. There you go. I can see the bottom of the jar. That's the entire jar, all of it. I can also see the pencil. I can even see the point of the pencil facing this way, and I can see the USB and the back of the pencil facing the other way. Okay, so this could be a better camera on this iPhone, but it's not that great. But it's enough to demonstrate that we are not losing the bottom of the jar. Okay, this is not like what you see when things going over the horizon. This is quite a different thing. This is a flat surface. Things get smaller and smaller as they get away from you, and then and until the point where you can't see them any further. Okay, that would go for the horizon as well. Okay. Okay, we're back again. So you have had a chance to have a look at that demonstration with the jars, and it should be clear to you now that the ones in the distance are no different to the ones in the foreground, except for the fact that they're smaller. So as things go further and further away from you, they get smaller and smaller, as you'd expect, but they get smaller in all directions. The bottom gets smaller, the top gets smaller, the sides get smaller. They just get smaller in all directions, and this would just keep going until you can't resolve what they are anymore. But that does not mean that they suddenly just going to get half of it, and then 3/4 of it, and then none of it like that. That's never going to happen. You're still going to see the whole lot if you can just focus on it. So as much as you can see the thing, as much as you can resolve what it is, you'll see all of it. Okay, there will be no point at which you only see some of it on a flat surface. Now, I've seen some of these videos where flat earthers have tried to tell us that that they're seeing some of it. In other words, walking through a park and then you can't see the shoes or something like that. Well, that's clearly not a flat surface. So this is a dishonest demonstration that they have. Okay, what you have seen tonight, what you've seen is a flat surface. Okay, there's no mucking around. It's not a floor. It's not a floor that's uneven. That's patently uneven. This is just a flat bench top. Okay, this bench top could keep going on and on and on, and nothing would change. Once more, the items will not change in the way they look. They will simply get smaller and smaller. So if you have a mechanism and enough optical lens ability to be able to bring them back, to magnify them, you'll see that they're still all there. Whereas, have a look over here again. You will never see those boats again. You will never see that boat again that's going over the horizon. Once that boat is gone, you're not bringing it back, as they say. I have heard many times, on various flat earth shows, especially the ones that are proselytizing on the streets, that boats that appear to go over the horizon, you can just get yourself a nice fine pair of binoculars and bring them back. Well, that is a patent lie. And to actually hear flat earthers say that they have done that, well, that is just patently lying. The boats that they can bring back have not gone over the horizon. That's the answer to that. Okay, the ones that are over the horizon, there's no optical instrument that will bring them back. Okay, occasionally there's things that you'll have refraction. that will allow you to see things that are over the horizon, that should be over the horizon, or that are over the horizon. You can see them again because of some optical phenomenon, okay, like refraction, especially where there's anomalies like cold and hot at the surface. You will occasionally see them, but you won't see a boat. You might see a boat for a time, but then eventually you won't see it because there's no refraction that will get that far down over the curve. It's a limited thing. Okay, so you'll see it for a while. You might see something that's over the curve for a while, but then you will eventually not be able to see it at all. Now, obviously, as you can see from my last video, the most common thing that you see that goes over the horizon all the time is the sun. Now, think about this, you people who think the earth is flat and who think that things go down bottom first because of some sort of optical phenomenon or light. Think about this. Since when are you ever going to get a telescope that sees the sun after it's gone dark? If the sun is just going over into the distance, why can't you get a telescope and make the sun come back? Even the thought of that is absurd. How are you not thinking this? How does that not register you that that is absurd? You're not going to get a telescope to bring the sun back. If you can't bring the sun back using a telescope, how are you going to bring the ship back? And why is there a difference? If you care that what you believe is true, why are you not asking that question? I can't ask that question on Ranty's show because I'm blocked. I can't ask that question on Globebusters because I'm blocked. I can't ask that question practically on any flat earth site because I'm blocked. The minute I ask a question, I get blocked. But you flat earth people, you can ask this question. And if you care that what you believe in is true, then ask those gurus of yours, you know, the ones who take money, all right, pretending that they think that the earth is flat. Ask them that question. Ask hard questions. Otherwise, this flat earth thing is going nowhere. It'll be nothing but a closed cult. And every time you block somebody like me, all you're doing is turning your cult into an echo chamber. Okay? You're not serious about wanting to know what the truth is. All you want to do is to listen to each other's garbage. Today I heard on that show practically nothing but just garbage. Okay. If you are interested in watching more of my videos, then please press the like button. So there's enough of you watching the videos, but you know, if you're just going to before you leave, just press the like button, or if you don't like it, press the dislike button. I'm cool with that as well. Okay, so press the like button, and if you haven't subscribed already, you know, subscribe, and then you'll get to see more of these shows that I'll produce more of them. Okay. All right, and that would be very much appreciated if you did that. I quite enjoy doing these shows, and I like to do more, but obviously I'm only going to do that if there's sufficient interest. Okay. In the future, I'll also be doing a lot more science ones, so those people who are interested in actually just listening to some, watching some lectures purely on science, chemistry and physics, I'll be doing more of them. But I'm still going to follow the flat earthers because I want to try and limit as much as possible these conspiracy theories, because this flat earth nonsense eventually leads to other things like anti-vax. If all you did was believe the earth was flat, you wouldn't affect me at all. Okay, I couldn't have cared less. But the trouble is that this leads to other things like anti-vax. That does affect me. That affects people I know. That affects people I love. So you are endangering the community by not getting vaccinated. That kind of conspiracy we need to stop. Okay, so once again, press the like button, press the subscribe button, or press the dislike button if that's what you want to do. I'll catch you next time. Bye.